Okay, cool. Ready to go? Right, okay. Kia ora koutou katoa, talofa lava, malo le whakalofa lai atu. Warm Pacific greetings and also welcome everybody to our first Q&A session about Digital Creativity Foundation Program. Today we're coming live from Click Studios here in the wonderful West Auckland, Rosebank Road, Avenger. And today I'd just like to welcome all those that are online or coming online, and also to our audience that we have here. We've got some wonderful things I want to share with you today. Mainly it's about the relationship that we have with our students and also our staff. And of course, how the Digital Creativity Foundation Program has played a really key part in their learning as well as their teaching. So before we start, I'd just like to do some introductions so you know who's sitting on the panel today, because it's kind of hard to figure out who's what. You don't know who they are. So first, I would like to introduce to you our students, these two wonderful students that actually finished the Digital Creativity Foundation Program, or what we refer to as the DCF. First and foremost, I'd like to introduce to you Alex Emirali. Yep. She's finished the DCF program at the end of 2021, which is quite an achievement considering that we were in lockdown. So good on you, sis. Alex went to study from her foundation program. She then entered into the Bachelor of Creative Technologies at Media Design School and is halfway through her first year. So congratulations for getting this far, and we will hear more from her as we go into our panel. Also like to introduce to you this very handsome young man.
Say it like that.
Yeah, well, we'll put it like that. Yeah, keep your hat on, okay. This is Ezekiel who also completed the DCF program at the end of 2021 with his wonderful colleague, Alex. Ezekiel also then continued on with his Bachelor of Creative Technologies and Media Design and is halfway through his first year, same with Alex. So it's quite good. They both went through the foundation program. They've now entered into the Bachelor program. the hand in hand. No, they're not boyfriend and girlfriend, they're colleagues and so forth. And we're here today because of the digital creation program since 2020, teaching game design and concept art. Glenn transformed the game design component from board games to designing digital games using Game Maker. In his spare time, Glenn focuses on game development, which keeps him up to date with art and programming, and is a competitive multiplayer gamer in the fighting game genre. It's a mouthful, so it looks like he's a bit of a fighter, but I think more of a creator sort of thing. So welcome, Glenn.
Thank you.
And to his far left, we have Russell from Spain. Yu has been a lecturer for the DCF program since 2016, teaching 3D modeling, and most recently modified the animation component from 2D to 3D animation. Sorry, animation. I say animation for someone, sorry. Yeah. My apologies to my son. Okay. Yu has his own production studio and remains connected with the industry by working with clients like Foodstuffs, Might Kingdom, and Bulletproof in his spare time. So, ladies and gentlemen, to our audience, can we please give a round of applause to our panelists today? So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask a series of questions. And the whole idea here was to be able to first introduce you to our staff, but also to introduce you to the users of this program and how important this is being for their journey and so forth. And today it's really meet these guys and talk about their experience. Hopefully that will resonate with some of our audience. You can't see our audience, the professionals from different schools across West Auckland as careers advisors. And so it's really important that we have their in our presence today. And then we have others that have just come, like John and Ashley. Thank you, members of the public, to join us today. So we appreciate their time. There's a whole lot of them here. They're all sneaking in, so you can't see them, okay? Very good. Okay, so the first question I'd like to ask is to our lecturers. Let's talk about a little bit about what you do. If you'd like to start first, and then we'll let Glenn share.
So we teach the MD formation program, and basically what we do is try to get, because we are level 4, and I realized that we are not only teaching specific software or specific techniques, but we help. I think I realized that my goal is more like help them to transition from the high school and very strict education to more like studio-like mentality that we do in our projects. We treat all the projects to be like studio projects and industry, kind of working in the industry. And when they start, they call you, "Sir, can I go to the toilet, please?" Like, no, this is like, if you think about the studio, this is a company. You don't ask your boss if you can go to the toilet. Just go, but don't go in the middle of a meeting. Like they kind of have to learn this self-control, that they are responsible. They are no longer in a high school. They are like in a higher education and going through the industry. So we want to focus. We want to take those students, focus them on the industry, and obviously teach them stuff. But I think the main thing is show them like this transition. I think.
Okay. Excellent. So the life skills there we're talking about, that change and transition going from high school into adult world. We all know. I mean, many students would call me sir, and I'd say to them, "I'm not a policeman, so it's just my name, as in Tonga law." Very good. Glenn, would you like to share with us what is it that you teach? What do you like about what you teach?
Well, so to add on to my name is Glenn, right? I teach the concept art and the game development. So that's both art and programming. So it's kind of cool because when I teach those two, I can see like, okay, this one's gonna be an artist, this one's gonna be a programmer. Although the answer usually surprised me, like, oh, okay, and then turns out it's really, really cool figuring that out. And like what Luke said about basically nurturing them to get used to the studio environment. I think that's actually very, very accurate, right? Because when you're studying rather than just learning technique, I think it's important that when the time comes and you have to study, when you have to actually work or go into a further education, that you already used to this. Like what Luke said, right? Like, why would you ask your boss if you can go to the bathroom? And don't go to the bathroom during meeting. Small things like that actually matters quite a lot. I think it's very, very cool.
Read the room.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, that's good. Okay, all right. Well, thank you for sharing those thoughts. We'll come back to you guys very shortly. We're just going to go to our young students here. So here's a question. Yes, we do know that you finished your Digital Creativity Foundation program. What were there any favorite components of the program that you liked?
Concept art.
Concept art.
Okay, thank you.
That just rolled out like butter. So why did you like that?
It was kind of.
Perhaps if you could explain to the audience what is concept art.
So in case you don't wonder what concept art is, it's basically like, you have to design the character from scratch, right? You don't have to design that. You gotta do all the research and stuff. You gotta design all the little bits, like how does he look? What's this, the way it looks, the way it works and stuff. And so it was interesting to me because at that point, all my art was just straight to paper, done. I'm like, oh yeah, that looks nice. But when I got to Glenn, he was like, maybe you should try this and that. I was like, yeah, I could try that. And, I could try all that. And and I did it. And I was like, oh yeah, that's actually really cool. I never did this before. So it was actually really nice. And I did that and I was like, yeah, I really like this. I really like the flow of how this works and stuff. So I was like, that's probably why it was my favorite.
Okay, so when you say try this, what did you try that was different from just going from pencil to paper? What was the difference? Like
Research.
color?
The research.
Okay.
The research. Because before, I'd only drawn what I liked to draw. But Glenn encouraged me to try new things. So I researched, it's okay, I've never done this. Normally I don't draw hands that well. Do you know how hard hands drawing hands are really hard.
Right.
So I tried that, I was like, oh hey, that actually doesn't look that bad. Heck yeah. And I looked at different. I learned that you didn't have to look at one picture as a reference. You could look at multiple pictures. I'm like, this makes it so much easier. Why have I never done this? Why have I never done this? I felt like a genius when I did that. I was like,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll put you on pause right now.
Yeah.
We want you
Alex,
to spend all day telling us how bright you are. I want to also hear from Alex. Alex, what's your favorite part of the foundation?
I think I had a few different favorites because they're all amazing components. I'd say that if I had to pick a few, it'd be the 3D game design and component. 3D because it was something new and challenging, something that you don't do in high school for the most part. I think there's a few high schools that might teach it, but even then it's not a lot. Whereas this challenged you for 4 weeks to learn a program and to create something that you've never done before. So that was really interesting, challenging. And
So did you create something? And
yeah,
what was it?
so we had formatives and summatives. So formatives would be you're learning, but you're still making things. So I think one of the first things that we did was make a small temple sort of design. So you learn how to make a small building out of basic shapes and that sort of thing, and put a background behind it, and learn how to use the lighting tools and how to change the shapes that you're given at the start. And then we went on to we made a dinosaur, and everyone could kind of pick their own dinosaur that they wanted to make.
So did you pick Barney?
No, I ended up doing, call me generic, but I ended up doing a T-Rex for mine.
Of course, it has to be a
You
T-Rex.
can draw a T-Rex.
Yeah.
It could have been a T-bone, for I know. But anyway, did it go well?
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge, especially learning the texturing side of things, because the image that I picked ended up looking really weird when I put it on. But just being able to learn something so different to what I was used to, especially in high school, was a really cool experience.
So what were you used to young brother here?
Just easy will do.
Yeah. So Easy talked about going from pencil to paper. What's your
So my background, where I came from through high school, was photography and graphic design.
right?
So I knew how to use things like InDesign, and I could use Photoshop and Lightroom fairly proficiently. Whereas when I came to MDS during the 3D component, we were using Blender, which is a program that until probably the weeks before when I realized we were learning it, I'd never touched before in my life.
Yeah.
So the challenge was learning within the space of basically 4 weeks, because that's how long you have per component, was learning everything for that program, which is very heavy in terms of the tools that you use, and putting them together to create something that you could be proud of and show to other people.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was really different to sort of doing graphic design, which is like posters and that sort of thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's good to. It's actually really nice to see how you kind of progress through. You talk about programs like Blender. I use a Blender every morning for my for my
Not
fruit,
that
you know,
For your smoothies.
for my smoothie, and it's still not working. I need to use another Blender. Sort of thing. Okay, so what I'd like to do here is for the audience that just arrived, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry that you've arrived late. Normally I'd make you sing the song, but the camera can only fit me, so you're okay. So today we're talking about our Digital Creativity Foundation program. It's really a Q&A session. These two wonderful, this is easy. This is Alex. They both graduated last year during lockdown, completing the 1-year program and so forth. So we're just talking about their journey. They've got now in their bachelor program doing media design. So halfway through their studies. And here on our left-hand side here are two wonderful lecturers. You, Blasel, from Spain. We talked about Spain. I lived in Spain. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, that I could live in Spain. Okay. And then of course I've got Glenn, who's also one of our lecturers as well. And they're just talking about what they've been doing and how these two have come through. So right now, what I'd like to do is go back to our lecturers and just ask a real simple question. What do you enjoy most about teaching?
Well, I think just what happened right now, that Alex was so happy about the company that I teach. And I love when students, please do that more. When students come to you and you know, they say, I have been doing this in 3D, like after the class have finished, you know, like I have been pushing my skills, all that you taught, that you show me, now I'm doing my own stuff, and they come to you and they show it to you. It's like very, very, very good, because like I feel really good. Like I feel really good. Or when someone says, "Oh, I'm proud," because I know that I pushed them a lot. And I pushed them quite a lot, but during those 4 weeks, and but
It's encouraging. It's a good challenge. It's a challenge.
But at the end, I told them, look, like, because they are stressed, you know, doing all the work, and like at the end I said, like, hey, look, 4 weeks ago you have no idea how to do any of this, and now in 4 weeks you can create a dinosaur, you can create a level, you can produce things, and then they say, oh, that's cool, that's actually cool. Like they are so focused on the work that they don't even realize, and that's very gratifying. Yeah, it's 100%.
Nice. Glenn, what's one of your favorite parts of teaching, or what is it that you enjoy about teaching?
So it's the strict one. I'm the funny one, right? Basically, I wish I sat here because you kept stealing my answer. Next time I'm gonna get the corner seat. But to add on to what Luke said, yes, it is actually the best feeling, especially when like I'll give you an example, right? So for example, let's say someone couple of students we had in like 2020 or 2021, they message you one day and they go, "Hey Glenn, I got a commission. What do I do?" And I'm just like, don't panic. This is a chance for you to, you know, to step into the professional world. Like it's like they would like panic. They would like sort of like, relax. You know, you did really well in class and you show off your work. People like it, and now you have the opportunity to step in the professional zone. You know, and I love that because like I haven't spoken to them for maybe like a good year, and then they contacted me going, you know, I'm going somewhere. Like, and then like, do you have any advice? And I'm just like, I'm so touched. but so that's banking on Luke's answer. If I have to pick a different answer than that, it's actually would be, what do I like most about teaching is I don't get so I've been working since I was like 16, right? So I'm 34 now, so I've been working for 18 years. But this is probably one of the very rare cases where I'm legitimately can say I'm excited to go to work. Because it's very exciting to see what the students come up with, right? So how we structure our lesson is we give them a I wouldn't say a problem, but we give them a situation, and they would have this wacky, really clever way to solve it. And it's exciting to come to school and be like, oh, that's how you're gonna do it. That's really cool, and it works out really well.
Excellent.
And I think it's very, very fun. Coming to work is very fun. And okay. So this might not be true. Please correct me if I'm true. But when the teachers are having fun, the students gonna have fun.
Oh
too.
yeah.
That is facts.
I absolutely
That is
agree with
facts.
It's
that.
just both.
That is facts.
When both sides are having fun, you're gonna get something good.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, can we give this man a round of applause? Because I think he's speaking from the heart. Kia ora, everybody. We're here at Click Studios here in Avondale on Rosebank Road. I'm with my good colleague Brady, our campus director. You'll meet her very shortly, and also with Bonnie, who looks after the program, the DCF. Here we have on our panelists, we have Ayu from Spain, and also Glenn and Alex, Ezekiel and Alex that are with us today. We really appreciate that you're joining with us. Just wanted to let those that are online and just joined us, thank you for joining us today. We're live from Click Studios in conjunction with Media Design School. Also ranked number 10, I think, in animation. Well, we're ranked all over the place. We're like the All Blacks. Ireland are going to learn today that you might have been good last year. You're about to get a lesson. Please, All Blacks win. If not, I take it back, sort of thing. Anyway, coming back to what we're doing here today. Today we're just talking to our students and also our lovely teachers about the things that they've been teaching this year. I'm just going to turn on my computer. It sort of died on me and stuff. Anyway, well, I'll have to fake this one. But I'm going to just turn to our students right now. And if you wouldn't mind just talking a little bit about your journey, how the foundation program prepared you with your bachelor program now. Yeah, one thing. Okay, so that we can see the progress that you went from, because obviously when you do this foundation program, like anything else, it's a suite of different disciplines within tech. So they figured out what they like, which is why the foundation program is it's intensive. In fact, the conversations I've had with the different head of directors is that we're not mimicking what the industry is going to be like. This is the industry. So the word that I hear constantly, and I've only been with the organization for nearly 8 weeks, is intensity. So the more we get used to this intensity, which is why you have people like Luke and Glenn, because they know what they can get out of people, the better prepared we are for our students and so forth. And so today I just want to ask you guys, what's one thing that Foundation did to prepare you for bachelor's? I'll go to Alex first.
I'll let you go first.
Oh gosh, so I'm part of BCT now, which is the Bachelor of Creative Technologies, also more commonly known as Game Art. So I'd say that the components that would have contributed to this the most would be concept art and game design, we were the first year that did that. So basically it's using Game Maker to learn coding and pixel art and then producing a game. So that definitely had a huge impact on my bachelor now, because all of the skills that we learned from the coding side would easily translate into what we would be doing this year, because we were using the same program and the same coding language. So we were immediately more knowledgeable than the students who hadn't gone through the foundation course first. So, I'd be able to go up to people who I just met in that year, this year, and show them different techniques that they didn't know yet that we had already learned the previous year. So it was really good to be able to have that extra knowledge on hand the second we started, because I was able to feel familiar and not out of my depth straight away, whereas some of the people who had no idea, never touched coding in their life, had to suddenly learn all of this stuff in order to complete their assessments.
Okay, all right. So even if you do have the right entry requirements into our program, if you've never done programming before, it's very maths orientated. It's like going from Japanese to Chinese, or Japanese to Latin. Language is language, but the difference is the way it's performed, pronounced, etc., etc. So it's really good to hear, and so forth. I'd like to ask you, Ezekiel, what's one thing from Foundation that's helped you in your current studies?
I reckon, I had a similar experience with Alex with that. I wasn't that good at programming compared to most of the other students. I was like, oh man, okay, all right, let's see, what can I do for this? And I do it. I truck along. I think one thing that I took from this DCF that I took from BCT is actually not academic, actually social. So in our class, in our DCF class, we were quite chatty. I'll be completely honest. I was 70% of the chatter that was going on in class. I'll be honest. I'll come all the way clean. 80% chance. 80%. So no, but I feel that was important because I had to make connections. I felt like making connections in an industry like this is good. I don't know why. No one ever told me that, but I just feel like they were gonna tell me that eventually. I was like, I feel like I should make connections. So I made friends with like pretty much half the class at that point. And by the end of it, I was pretty much friends with everybody. And I did this. Oh yeah, okay. And then I went into BCT, and like even though there were new people, I was like able to bounce off people easily because I had already met people who were similar last year. So I was like, hey man, what's up? What's good? And they're like, yo, so I'm easy. You want to be friends? Yeah, let's be friends. We can be friends. And then yeah, and already like halfway through the year, I'm already like friends with like half the class. So like and like it's cool because like eventually I'm gonna have to work with them later down the line. So it's good that I've like I've buddied up with them, helped them out. I've leveled. I'm a cool guy. You're a cool guy. Let's be cool friends.
Good. And you're hitting your marks.
Yeah. My marks are still good. My
That's
marks
good.
are still great.
Anyone, that's good to hear. You're still hitting the marks, making good friends. These are going to be his colleagues going forward. It's a small industry. You kind of reflect who you're with.
Yeah.
So that's really, really good. Well, thank you for sharing that part there. I'm just gonna go back to this question here. This is to you guys. So we have the DCF Avengers. What does DCF Avengers represent?
Wow.
Do you guys know?
Yeah, so from knowledge, so we joined after the creation of the DCF Avengers, but from what we've seen, it's basically the people who have already completed the program. So everyone that's kind of gone through DCF, finished, it's basically labeled as a DCF Avenger, and we're able to continue talking with the people who are in the course now. So we're part of a Discord server that allows us to communicate with everyone that is previously finished and is currently going through DCF, and we're able to help them out. So I guess the Avengers label came from, us being like helping to the people who are currently going through the course.
Exactly.
So you kind of created what we call an alumni.
Yeah. Alumni.
So,
We just used Avengers because it sounds way cooler.
Yeah.
oh, it's even cooler. All right, yeah.
Makes it sound interesting.
Yeah.
So here's the professional LinkedIn, and this is the social media for Facebook or Twitter. Sorry, Instagram. Yes. Sorry. Okay, no, that's good. That's good. Well, I just got a few more questions I'd like to ask you, and I'm gonna just check. Do you have any questions online? No, and I might actually go to the audience as well. Maybe this will be a good chance to go to the audience. Would you like to ask any questions?
Yeah, I would I'd be interested why you chose the foundation course, because I always think it's a great opportunity for students to try out a whole lot of areas before they decide. So was that kind of
That was actually a big reason why I did the foundation first. Because I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do. So I was like, man, what do I want to do with my life? What am I going to do? And then they said foundation is like, do a little bit of everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that.
I think for me, one thing that both my teachers and my parents always told me was don't put your eggs all in one basket. And when I started DCF, so I finished high school the year early. I finished after year 12. And I was worried that at the age of 16, if I threw myself into a bachelor straight away, if I regretted the decision, I had to stick through a 3-year bachelor at that point because I committed to it. So the DCF was a really good way for me to make sure that I'd made the right choice without having to go to a different university. So I could get a feel for the community that MDS had and get an idea of, is this definitely what I want to do? So I had a huge opportunity to be able to have a taste of every different area that MDS teaches before committing to a bachelor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that help you, Fiona?
Yeah, and I guess did you run with what you thought, or did you not have a preconceived idea of what you might go into? So was it surprising what you then went into for your bachelor's?
For me, no. I actually found MDS through the Girls and Games when I was only in year 10. And from that moment forward, I said, I want to work with game art. And to this day, 4 years later, basically, I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think I had. So what was your question? Like,
Well, it's did you think what you've ended up doing for your bachelor, would you have imagined that you would have done that prior to doing the foundation, or did the foundation open an area that you hadn't?
I think so. Like, if I didn't do foundation, I would have been like, I still would have been thinking like, man, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with my life?
Good question. Thank you, Fiona. Appreciate those very good questions there. Anyone else like to ask a question? Feel
Can I
free.
just clarify? So you found the information that you need through. What did you?
It's called Girls and Games. It's a singular day program specifically for females to introduce them to the gaming industry. So it's basically you go in and you learn a little bit of coding, a little bit of either 3D or 2D art, depending on your preference for that. And then they show you how to implement that into a video game. And it's like a little taste of the industry.
I think we're doing a Girls on Games this week.
Next week,
yeah, next
Thursday.
Seen it advertised.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be for senior high school students, this
Yeah.
one, but there's also one for juniors.
So just to add on there, like one of the things that we're doing with Media Design School, we have what we call our Matatanu, which is basically we have 3 posts that reflect the importance of tikanga, Māori, Whenua, and Pasifika. And one of our posts represents the need to make sure that our people are well informed, and that if they are well informed, then we hope that they're able to make informed decisions. And if the decision is to stay within the tech industry, excellent. If it's not to come to MDS, Media Design School, come by. If it's to go somewhere else, we totally support that. And that's what we're finding that's really critical in this day and age, is being able to provide informative information that gives the individual the power to make good decisions that's reflective to their waka, to themselves, and so forth. And so, as the marketing manager for Māori Pacific, that's been one of the things that I really wanted to emphasize, is that it's not always about us. It's always and has and continues to be about our students, whether they're young, mature, etc. We're really focused on Māori and Pacific women, Māori and Pacific young people, as well as our mature students and those that are disabled. And that's not to say that we're not like that also for our general public, our general audience as well. We just don't want anyone to be missed out and so forth. So really want to just put that out there so that people can see and hear that, we're one of many options, but we're certainly not the option. So again, welcome everyone to our afternoon. We're with Click Studios here at Rosebank Road, also with Media Design School. This is our team from MDS, our lecturers, Luke, you and Glenn, and again our wonderful students, Ezekiel, and also Alex. We're grateful for the audience. If there's any other questions you'd like to ask, feel free to do so. Oh, excellent. We've got over here.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. We appreciate it. You're eating up good time. Kia ora, ka pai. So back to Fiona.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if Luke and Glenn, will you be facilitating the DCF program here? Or is it going to be running in town and here in conjunction?
Great question. I'm going to hand this over to Bonnie, who's actually the program director. Bonnie, would you like to answer that question?
Sure,
right
Kia
now?
ora. So I'm Bonnie Kerr, I'm the program coordinator for the foundation program. So the with Studio, Click Studios, we'll be streaming live the lessons and so forth here into Click Studios. That will be run by our lecturers. We're currently doing the same process, same model with the Digital Natives Academy in Rotorua. So Click Studios will have people on site here using computers and so forth. They'll join us through our online platform, Blackboard, and that's how we'll be delivering to the Click Studios.
Okay.
In addition to that, and I'll come back to something else, right? This is Bridie, who you know is a campus director. The collaboration Lisa will talk more about is having our mentors that are from the industry working closely with our students who will be the mentees. So the idea is that we don't want students to come here and there's no mentors. We want them to be working collaboratively with one another. And so this hub here is really to service our West Auckland whānau. So if you don't want to go to town, then come here. Free parking, access to buses just down the road, and coming in and out of here is much more. Our campus is nice. Don't get me wrong, but if you don't have to go to town, then you can come here to study and so forth. And we want to be able to create alongside with Bridie, those that are professionals that are here to connect with our students. So that creates that network, that connection, and also they become pretty much their mentor in the work that they're doing and so forth. So that's where we're wanting to head. And eventually, it could be that as we grow this, that maybe if capacity allows, that we do have the lecturers come here and do live lectures and so forth. Because that would be
Can I add
as
something?
well. Please, go ahead.
So obviously, during COVID or the pandemic, we get forced to go online, and since that we have perfected a lot the online classes, and I think we are in a good spot now. And I think there is a big difference. Like when we do online classes, it's like you are in class virtually. It's not like some people think about, oh, I'm just gonna do it on my own time, like I'm gonna see the class at 2 a.m. in the morning because no, it's like in the time of the class you have to be there because I will ask questions like if it was a normal class. So and we try to encourage the students to share their screen so we can see what they are doing. We cannot force them, obviously, but we would like to. But really, we want to feel like this as close as being in a class, but online.
Yeah,
Do you mind if I add something to that?
please.
Yeah, so as you guys know, Izzy and I completed some of the course during lockdown, and during this time, every student, including everyone who had originally been on campus, had forced to be online. So during that time, it still felt like we were almost in a classroom together. We were still able to work really well and show the lecturers our work, get feedback, and almost not quite as well because obviously it's online now, but we were still really easily able to get feedback and communicate with the lecturers and that sort of thing.
We managed.
Yeah.
We managed.
So even though you're an online student, it doesn't mean that there's going to be a huge disconnect between you and the lecturers. You still get a really good amount of time, a good amount of feedback, and you still learn just as much.
Yes.
Is there anything else, Fiona, before we switch over to? Now, here we go.
I just sort of clarifying, just because my brain's a little bit slow at the moment. So the lecturers are based in town, and you've got a live class there, plus you're live streaming out to here and Rotorua.
No.
No.
So the online class is done. So if for example we're streaming to here, then let's say yes, we will have another class that's not Click Studio. They will be online as well.
Right. Right.
At least that's what At least that's what the plan is.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, so far that's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right now, right at this very moment, actually, I was teaching a class. So we have some students from Digital Native Academy, and then the rest of the class are online students, right? And so it's a full online class. And for anyone who's thinking like, oh, there won't be a closeness with the thing, that's actually wrong. I feel like I spend more time with the online guys more than the offline guys because they're always talking to you through through social media or like Discord or anything, right? Yeah. But yeah, so we do try like Lutz said, we do try to make it as close to a virtual classroom as possible.
Yeah. Cool. So how many students are here?
Not yet. We're
Not yet.
building them, so
Coming.
it is coming. Yeah, it is like rugby. It's coming.
It's work in
Slowly,
progress.
but surely.
It's a work in progress.
So we hope that by semester 1 of 2023, so we're really pushing for our semester 1 of 2023. We'll have a lot more students to work with as well as they come out. I think the thing would be for us is once we start to engage with our careers advisors and talk about what it is that we're wanting to do, we can then start putting in some timelines, look at the different students that may actually meet or look at going into the foundation program, or some could go directly into the bachelor program, depending on what they're wanting to do. I guess for us, what we want to do was launch this so that you can see both the positives. There are some challenges, but I think there's so many positives out of this that the students have talked about it and the lecturers. It's a good way to kind of whet your appetite a little bit. I mean, I remember when I was at school, I know it's a long time ago, and I think my school was happy that I went to school. I did a foundation program. It was the same thing. I was gung-ho like, Alex, I'm going to go in, but a very wise careers advisor said to me, Matua, you need to tie her. And I was going, I'm not that old. I'm not really that old. I said, I'll come by. And he goes, you need to sharpen your sword. I was going, oh, yeah. And he goes, if we spend the time to do the certificate of business studies, it may help you to prepare for your Bachelor of International Business. Little did I know at that time, I thought, but I don't want to spend time, I want to go now. So we went back 4 spaces to jump 8. And I'm grateful for that, because those foundation programs provided some space, some time to think and sharpen and get yourself ready, and then actually figure out, oh, I do like marketing. I didn't know that was what I do. You know, I do like this, and I realized, no, I don't like accounting. I'm never going to be an accountant. Accounting peanut shell, says my brother-in-law. I'll spend it for you, but yeah. So when I hear the conversations that are coming from my colleagues and also from our students, I can only say that it has been a benefit in terms of the things that we've done and so forth. On that note, got a few more questions I'd like to ask our panelists. We'll start with the lecturers. We did talk a little bit about it, but I'm just going to ask, what kind of experience have you encountered online class that would never get to experience on the offline class?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
Okay, so stuff that we can get from online but we can't get offline, right?
Yes.
Well, I guess the one thing that actually this is good to your previous to one of the question from the audience, right? Whether we would run it live and also stream it. So we don't do that, right? We try to make it like you're either live or you're online, because if we do half, then I don't think anyone's gonna have a good time, right? Because we want to make sure that everyone feels like their time is very, like them being there is, you know, like I'm being paid attention to, right? And the thing with online is it's great, because I just finished teaching an online class. I like this question actually. Lucky I'm taking it.
Yeah.
But I would say the fact that usually when it comes to offline, right? Let's say class starts at 8:30 and we finish at 11:30. That's kind of it. All right, you guys have lunch. I'll see you tomorrow. But when it's online class, it just doesn't end. It doesn't end. It's like it's 8:30 and 1 o'clock. It's like, oh, Glenn, how do I do this? You know, and I think that's kind of cool, because like when it comes to teaching online, we kind of build it around the fundamental fact on the factor that how can we make our class not like watching a YouTube tutorial. So otherwise, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
So we try to do things. We try to make it cinematic. You know, each class is like a theatrical episode. You know, and the closeness. I think the closeness is the most important thing between us. Like, you know, we have to be approachable by the students, right? Because I always tell myself, it's like, can they just learn this from YouTube thing? And if so, what's the point? You know. So we do get we do a thing called breakout group, where we kind of split the students into a smaller group, and then all right, we're gonna have a chat about your work. You guys just chat casually. We want to look. You guys just talk to each other, kind of thing. And I'm not saying this is impossible with offline, but I feel like with online, because everyone kind of in that stranger mindset, like we're all strangers here.
Yeah.
But you know, and then the fact that they're online, there's no commute time, there's no you know,
Yeah.
they kind of like sometimes. I think it was last year, right? No, it was your class.
Yeah, it was.
When you guys were like,
It was on
why are they still in voice chat? It's like it was during lockdown. It's like, why are they still in voice chat? It's like 8 p.m. You guys were in like voice chat from morning till late, working on your assignment. It was lockdown, right? And
Yeah.
it was lockdown, and they're starting online. They were doing the assignment, and they would stay in the voice chat from morning to night. And like, and in Discord, you can kind of peek what they're doing. It's like, are they just playing games or they're actually working?
We're working. We're on that grind,
It's
man.
like 8 p.m. at night. You can scroll over to their group and see what they're doing. Like, oh, they're actually still working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we went online for lockdown, it was like 8:30 class start, join Discord call with all of our classmates.
Yeah.
We wouldn't get off until 11, 12 at night sometimes.
Yeah.
You'd see like 10 of us still in the Discord call for that entire day.
Grinding.
Just working.
Just grinding.
And chatting.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be like grind set, nobody's really talking, but we're there. Everyone was chatting and giving feedback and communicating together, which was kind of harder to do when you were an offline student, because once you got home, it was almost like finishing high school. You would just go home and work by yourself. But when we went online, everyone was still working together afterwards.
It was weird, eh? It was weird. Like, why was it 0 for online? And we did that, but why wouldn't we do that offline? It's like,
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
I think it gets more personal because people have. It's like having all these people at your home. You introduce, we have seen that with the lockdowns. Like the life, professional life, and personal life get intertangled. I don't know.
Mm.
And I have another example, like when I was teaching online, the class we have online now. One of the girls is in a farm. I don't know where it's in somewhere in New Zealand, but quite isolated, so she couldn't come to Auckland. But she's in a farm, and it's like, oh, wait, in the middle of it, wait, my eggs are hatching. And then she had all the chicks that were hatching, and she started to send photos, so it was like,
Oh, that's nice.
and everyone was like, oh, so cute.
That's so nice. That's so cool.
So this kind of things happen, like more personal things.
That's really weird. A farmer just decided I'm gonna really like graphic
Well, she's really into design and drawing and all that, so for her works really well.
That'd be really
That's
cool.
really cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing those experiences. I think some of us can resonate with that, especially the ones that when it does work, it works really well. When it doesn't work, it's off. Complete silence. You're talking to yourself, and it just doesn't happen. So it's nice to hear that there are some excellent examples of working online and creating that connectivity. And I think it sounds like the foundation team groups really meshed together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, our class was bomb.
And then, Bonnie, has that been the same with all the other foundation program teams that have come through? They're quite tight, or is this unique?
Generally, yeah. I mean, like, when the students are first coming in, they don't know each other. You might get a couple of them that do. By the time they sort of progress through to the time that they've completed, they've all established connections and relationships. The important thing about it, I think, with DCF is because they stayed in that group, they stayed in that class from the day, from the beginning right to the end. So they do, and they start to sort of build that mentality around those relationships, those connections, and when they're going off to the degree programs, they know who they can talk to and who they can reach out to. With, as Ezekiel was saying earlier, with the mindset going into industry, that these relationships that they're establishing now are potential industry contacts with them in the future. So yeah, it always happens. I think Ezekiel's class, his class, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I was on Discord, and I'm like, why are they still there?
We weren't being punished, I promise.
No,
we were being forced.
They all kind of had. Every class kind of has its own dynamic, but they all just sort of it just is a job. We have some students who are a lot quieter, and some students are a lot more vocal, but it just sort of seems to gel in those classrooms.
Well, thank you, everyone. We're just coming down to the last few moments of our afternoon Q&A session, Power Hour, with our panelists, our lecturers, Hugh and Glenn. Of course, we also have our wonderful students, Ezekiel and Alex. This time, we'd just like to acknowledge everyone that's with us. I know you haven't seen them, but hopefully you heard the voices of reason. It's from the schools, the careers advisors. We thank you for your thoughts and so forth. At the end of this session here, we do have another 30-minute session. This one here is with Click Studios representative. We were hoping to have our CE, but she may not be here because she's a busy woman. So we'll have Bree to talk to us as our campus director and just sharing with you what it is that they do here and the important relationship that we have with Click and also MDS. We'll also have Bonnie. They'll come up and just talk at a high level, just about the program and so forth. And if there are any questions that you might like to ask afterwards, we are mindful that you guys have a timetable. Feel free to spend some time with us, as well as take our little brochure, which is a nice one-pager. Everything you need on here. Or if you are pretty smart, just click on the QR code and it'll give you everything on there as well. On here, yeah. All right, so with just a couple more questions, I'm going to point it to our young Avengers here. Is a question: how does it feel? How does it feel? How do you feel about meeting people with similar interests and goals in your classroom? So, how does it feel meeting similar people with goals and interests in your own classroom?
It's pretty cool. When you meet these people, you level with them, but then you learn you also have the same you just have sort of the same aspirations. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. So we're cool, we're cool, and it's also they always tell us that the industry is very competitive, And like I always said, I always tell them like, there comes, we're tight. There's gonna come a time when, we're gonna have to compete for the same thing. But it's like, I just want you to know. It's like, I hope the best for you. And it's all in good spirits. And he's like, yeah, of course, bro. I get it. But like, I just wanna, like, because in the end of the day, businesses in general are just ruthless sometimes. And stuff happens. But I just like, as long as I've got those connections, because there might be a time where like my guy I was boys with, he becomes a CEO or something, and he's like, hey, you want that position? I'm like, say less, I'm in. I'm like, so
If I can add to that.
Sure.
So I always one thing that I always love to say is, especially during concept art, I noticed that a lot of students are always, it's unconscious, but they do compare their work to their classmates, especially every morning. I kind of put their work on the projector, right, and then we review it together as a class. So it's a bit brutal, but I love it. But they do feel like my work's not as good as the person next to me, and then they start feeling a bit down. But I always tell them, you never look at your classmate as a competitor first. You always look at them as future employer or future employee first, because like Ezekiel said, you never know. One time they're your neighbor in your class, 4 or 5 years later they're CEO in their own company. And if you do them something, like a good deed while you were studying, they can remember you.
Don't make unnecessary enemies. Don't make unnecessary enemies.
They will remember you. They'll be like, oh, I remember Ezekiel used to help me. Okay, let's see if he wants a job, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I always say. Treat them as your future employee / employer.
Yeah.
Whichever.
And I think it's more like that case. Like it's not that competitive. It's more like opportunity.
Yeah, it's more about the opportunity.
Very important.
Like it's like there's a little competitive element, but at the end of the day, it's just like being at the right place at the right time.
Very good.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is be kind to everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, be kind to everybody.
I think being able to be in the same class as like in MVO's case, other artists or programmers, is the harmony that it creates. Because one of the big things that I found, especially when I was in high school, was because you're jumping around so many different classes, everyone has completely different interests. It can be really, really hard to gel with someone who's interested in science or mathematics if you're an artist, or the other way around. So when you go into MDS, everyone having the same kind of aspirations allows you to have talking points. You find it a lot easier to make friends, make connections, and then you're able to, as Easy was saying, bring that into your professional life and potentially end up getting a job off of that person, or being able to employ them and make really strong connections that you might not be able to do in something like a larger university where everyone has different interests.
And there's like classes of like 600 people in one,
Yeah.
and like you're hardly ever talking because like everyone's just trying to focus on that one guy sitting at the front and just like, what is he saying?
I think there was 22 people in our class, and having the smaller number might seem a little strange at first, because even like that's smaller than typical high school classes.
Yeah.
But it means that you're able to like get to know everyone. Like you can talk with everyone really easily, and just it creates so many opportunities for your future that it's really good to have.
Also, just really good memories there.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted, I'm really appreciative of you guys coming in today and talking to us about your experiences. But I wonder if you could just highlight one challenge that you've had in the DCF program, how you've managed to, how did you get resolve it? What was one of the challenges that you had in your studies? I think that's something that people.
Ooh, I'm not gonna lie. I struggled with 3D the first time. When I used Blender, I was like, okay, all right. So, what did we design first? It was a temple, right? So I designed this nice temple. I was like, okay, this is cool. This is all right. And then we had to design a dinosaur, which, obviously, there's a difference between designing a building, designing a living thing, and just like, okay, all right, how am I gonna do this? And I did my best. I did a Spinosaurus, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty scientifically inaccurate. I did my best. His feet were weird. It was standing straight, but like it looked good. I just I did my best with it. I was proud of it. It's like it was my first time doing something. So when the third thing that we had to do, which was basically anything we could pick, you did a Valorant character, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you did Valorant,
Yeah,
and that was yeah. And I was gonna do another organic thing, but then I realized, okay, I should be smart about this. I should stick to my skill level. So I did a robot, and I was like, okay, what's a robot that I really like? And I was like, Transformers, Optimus Prime, 1990 something or whatever. And then I did that, and I was like, yeah, this is really cool. This is really cool. I'll give him the gun. I'll give him his axe. And it worked out. And then, I resolved it by picking something that is at my skill level, trying not to, it's not wrong to, go for something that's above your skill cap, but if you're on, borrowed time, you should probably stick to, where you're at. You should probably stick to where you're at.
Alex?
Gosh, it's really hard to think of one off the top of my head. I think the main thing for me was the time frame that we had for some things, because 4 weeks isn't a lot to learn an entire component. Because if you're not, I didn't do media design or film in high school, and the first component that we did was you have 4 weeks, you have to learn how to make a short film. I had no experience with any of the programs that we use. I never did anything with acting properly, and I just didn't know what I was doing.
It's also the fact that was our first subject, so that was the first time having to interact with everyone.
Yeah, and another thing with that was film is something where you have to work with other people. And it was our very first day when they introduced our first formative, and they were like, you have to do group work. I don't know anyone though. The only person I knew was someone that came with me from my high school. Everyone else, no clue who they were. And they're like, okay, group work. So you had to meet everyone, get into groups of about 5 people, and then learn a full component within 4 weeks. And that in itself was quite a big challenge. But I think the group work aspect, although it was daunting at first, trying to work with people you'd never met, never spoken to, was the fact that
it kind of set us up there.
Yeah, it set us up with our first friendships for the year, for a start, and our first support group, really. Because you would be able to bounce off of those people when you needed help with something. Because you were in groups, you were relying on them to help you with your projects. So if you were struggling, somebody in your group could help you. So even though it was hard trying to get to know everyone and learn everything in such a short span of time, it was easy to sort of bounce off of your classmates, and we all helped each other because of that. So, yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we really appreciate your time today. We thank you for coming. I know it's no, you don't need to apologize. There are other things that are on your plate. We're just grateful for you to be with us and happy to spend some time with you. If you do have some time. Today, I'd like to acknowledge first and foremost Click Studios, Brady at the back, who will speak to us in a very short moment, for providing the space and place for us to gather together. It's been really, really good. Also, like to acknowledge our panelists today. We have Luke, who's one of our wonderful lecturers, Glenn, who's one of our students, but he's actually our lecturer. Of course, Alex, full of life, and no doubt we look forward to seeing how things turn out in the next year and a half for you. And sorry, Ezekiel.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was wondering why you were thinking like that. Sorry, it's my dyslexia. Anyway, and then of course we have the lovely Alex, who's been very entertaining to listen and so forth. It's been a pleasure to be able to have us here today. This is the beginning of many, and we look forward to put more and more of these sort of engagements in the near future. From Media Design School, we're grateful to be able to put these engagements for our community. We're looking forward to really creating this wonderful hub for our West Auckland whānau, all the different schools that reside in the wonderful West Auckland, and that our students and even our adult learners may take the opportunity to come see, feel, and hopefully engage with us and so forth. It's been great having you here this afternoon. We are grateful for this time. And on that note, we just want to say thank you very much, ka pai whānau, especially those online. Did we get anyone online again? We did. Oh, thank you, Uncle, for going on. I know you said you're going to go on. For that, I'll make sure you're on my Christmas list. For the rest of my whānau, forget it. I'll see you something else. But kia ora koutou katoa whānau for being with us, for Take Tele Lava, everyone. It's been great. And most important of all, thank you for joining us. We will see you again. Can we give these our panelists a round of applause? Thank you. At this stage, what we'd like to do, if you have time, we just have another 30-minute presentation by two wonderful people, Bridie, who's the community coordinator that you've engaged with, but also the campus director, talking a little bit about what they do here from Click Studios, and I've got Vani who will talk a little bit about the program, but at a very high level, and it's also just the time for them to just to kind of share with you what we're doing. If you do have time, you're welcome to stay with us. I am mindful that you might not. However, we'd love it if you can stay. If you do need to use the
Yes, yeah, I spoke to you on phone.
Thank you very much for coming. Yeah, of course. Is there any questions about like actually studying here? I can answer all of that. So you guys can go out. We've got computer set up. Developers, game developers, all of the speakers that is possible. Yeah, it's a few slides around. Actually, I'll just keep you up.
Do you want some Juliet?
as soon as it happens, I'm kind of limited, but I'll work with it. So don't That's awesome. Okay.
What is it? Studio? So at our core
At the same time,
Oh,
like,
no, yeah.
she's serious.
Okay. We're ready to go? Okay. Oh, kia ora, everybody. Welcome back to our wonderful afternoon here at Click Studios in Rosebank Road. Here seated with me is Brady, who's our the community coordinator, but also the campus director for our students once they arrive, and also Bonnie, who's from Media Design School, who looks after the the Digital Creative Foundation program. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to hand the time over to Brady to talk a little bit about what they do here and the connection to us, and then I'm going to hand the time over to Bonnie to talk a little bit about what they do. And if we do have some time, we'll do some Q&As because we've got our wonderful audience that are here and so forth. But just know that there is a relationship, a reciprocal relationship. We'll do that word reciprocal. What does that mean? Yeah? That there's a good yin yang between us and them. So it's about, at the end of it, at the center of all this relationship is our students, whether young, mature, disabled, female, male, etc. They're all important. And so this relationship that we have is important because it's all focused on you. Again, welcome to our online whānau. Kia ora koutou katoa. I hope you're there. Please watch us. Yes, not watching Netflix. I know you're doing double, okay? This might change your life and stuff. Anyway, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I hand the time over to Brady.
Well, hello, I'm Brady. I am what you could say, the sole employee of Click Studios. So Click was established by my boss, who is Alicia Staples. You may see Staples VR here. And Rohan Araka, who is also in IT, and they're just both very incredible, creative business people. Alicia couldn't be here today because she is just incredibly busy, and Staples are just incredibly busy. They create AR, VR, game development, stuff like missile detection programs. They've just been working with St. John's on a program for detecting MS in people, some really incredible stuff. So that's just one of our members who uses Click Studios. So at our core, we're a co-working business for creatives. So you can see here, we've got 2 locations. So this was our newer one, opened sort of mid last year. I just came on in February. And we have another location, Carrington Road on the Unitec campus, and that building's full, primarily with a lot of film and screen people. So we've got the Auckland Arts Trust over there, so and a lot of more offices over there. We're probably a bit more open here. Since lockdown, it has been hard to tempt people away from the comforts of their home, but you know, I'm here every day. So if someone want to come in and see me. And when you go out there, you'll see a few things around, like the tech that's around. So Staples need every sort of AR, VR headset ever created. They have all of them. Computers, they need to update their computers every few years. So rather than selling it off, flogging it off, or locking it away, it's directly available for members and also for any rangatahi trying to get into creative tech to use. So our memberships for people working in our co-shared spaces, sort of like a gym membership. So simple as one fee gets you access to desk, or if there's a few of you, say a lockable office, we can put these like you can break these walls down and put them up. So we can do that along here. You get access to editing suite, audio booth, green screen. We've got meeting rooms. We've got event spaces like this over both campuses, and all of that stuff for any students coming here is accessible for them as well. So basically, anyone with a membership for Click Studios is directly sort of helping create that pathway for kids in West Auckland specifically. That's what we've kind of been working on to come in, and my job is to make them comfortable in the space. And Taparoa's, we've been working together the past couple of months on a plan to get the excitement, get everyone in, and so it's all it's all a go.
So I guess when she talks about the gym membership, this is where I wanted to reach out to our own network. So people out there that may need a space, a place, but may not have the resources. So there's a gym membership fee here. They pay it monthly. They get access to all the services and tools that are here 24/7. The benefit of that also is that when our students start to come in, those same professionals will become mentors to our mentees, and that's an important part of this collaboration, because what we want to be able to do is grow our own, and we want to do it locally and so forth, and do it in our own backyard. And so with COVID, it's created some challenges, but nothing impossible. And so it's almost like you can't do the other with the other. You have to go hand in hand. So there's so today is reaching out to our professionals through our own networks. Come and see Bridie in terms of what the cost is and all the other things that come with it. All I can say is that when you walked in, you saw those little gadget things, that moonwalking thing and that creepy looking thing, which is buzzes up and down. That thing's so big it makes my car look small. So
A fun thing about it.
yes, yeah.
So Alicia was the first female
Yes.
pilot in the country, and that was one of the first drones in the country.
So Alicia is like right up there and so forth. And so they've got equipment for Africa that is amazing. And having access to that will just really enhance those that are into the filming, etc., etc. The other side of Click Studios that's really important is location. So it's not that I don't want to reach out to our whānau out West Auckland, our east or central or south. It's just that we happen to be out in West Auckland, so we just make it accessible to our communities out here and so forth. So that's why we've reached out to our West Auckland schools to say, look, yep, this is where we are. You know what it's like to travel from here to town. We all have to send our rangatahi tamarikis to Auckland University, or University of Auckland, or AUT, and that's not Auckland University of Tonga, so that's the other one, because that's where everything is. Here it's about access. So if we can bring our education to our communities, then that makes it a little bit more palatable, makes it a little bit more pliable as well. And so, COVID's taught us a number of things, that what we used to think was the way to do things is no longer the case. And collaboration is such a key point to everything. As we talked about in our last panelists, it's all about talking, connections, and so forth. And so today what we want to be able to demonstrate to you from an industry perspective, this relationship that we have with Click Studios, is that the facilities are purpose-built, but we need people. And if we're going to get the next generation in, they need people to be able to support them get there. And so that's why this moment here to talk with Bree with Bridie is really, really important. And also to be able to show to you that you're not left alone, that you have this wonderful friendly face from Kahununu, Hawke's Bay, that will don't talk about and offer you to our whare here. And then you have me. No, I'm not security. That's next week. No, just kidding. I'm actually, you're the security. Yeah. Once you
I'm much scared.
But I'm here to support her as well as our rangatahi that come through and any of our communities and so forth. So at the end of the day, we want to be able to, as you may be aware of this thought, create a safe place, safe space, so that you feel welcome and we can nurture the space so that it becomes yours. And also our whānau that will bring in their tamariki into our into our space and so forth. So this is Click, and now what I'd like to do, if you want to say something else, awesome.
I can speak myself and say that I did the last year of my degree in the first lockdown. So I have very, very good experience with the old Discords at 8 o'clock at night. Although ours were not productive and just we built a Minecraft world. So, but my focus is really on their pastoral care and making sure kids are comfortable. Is all very well plonking them in front of a computer, but
it's true.
You got to have that mental, that comfort around you, the social aspect. So I want to make something really, really special for the years to come. Yeah.
So I guess in a lot of ways, we're extending that support from our schools, taking that holistic approach and transitioning from high school into the next tier of education, which is tertiary. it's still maintaining that connection of support and not taking away your voice, but hopefully we're enhancing it. And so that this connection we have with our schools, with our careers, and different key stakeholders in schools is such an important part, because no one wants to throw anybody outside of the house unless you know that someone's going to catch them outside the window, and that's where we are. And it's not about catching you, but it's about helping to step you through the window so that we feel that you're going to be in a safe place and so forth. And so you can hear right away that Bridie's also experienced. Unlike me, I did COVID, but I wasn't studying. I think I was chasing my grandchildren around and wondering why I was studying what they were eating instead of eating what they were studying. So, on that note, I'm grateful for this time that we've had with Bridie. I've got so many names in my head. There's Bridie. Yeah, Bridie. And Bridie looks like her. She's beautiful and you know, Park, yeah, cheeky, you know. Anyway, so on that note, I'm going to hand the time over to Bonnie to share with us what you do and how this program sort of works from an academic perspective. Yeah.
Sure. Kia ora. So my name is Bonnie Kerr. I'm the program coordinator of the Digital Creativity Foundation program. Where to start? So, firstly, I want to thank the panel, the students and the staff earlier, because they really did encompass what doesn't normally get communicated about programs, especially on open days and so forth. So I thought it was really, really important to sort of have that piece around there. Also, to Bridie here for inviting us, allowing us to be in this space today to share the space with them. And really looking forward to developing the relationship with them and seeing how we progress. The foundation program, I mean, you picked up from the students in terms of the significance and how it's helped them to sort of move into their future goals, into their future pathways. From an education of my perspective, in terms of pathways are hugely important, especially around high schools. They're coming out of that space and they're really not sure, but they're creative. When I started in the DCF program, I was at Media Design School. It was about 2016, about 6 years ago. It was still very much sort of the same idea around that sort of building up and different areas and giving the students kind of a taster into different creative tech spaces. Where it's moved to from there, and there's been a phenomenal shift in terms of what the DCF program is now today than it was 6 years ago. A couple of things that always comes up is it is a 1 year program. It is a 120 credit program. It is made up of 2 level 4 NCQA certificates, and people quite often ask why. Why can't they just do the 60 level credit certificate, and why do we do a 120? Historically, from my own experience, the students who have completed this program for the 129, it's not just about the qualification, it's actually getting them degree ready so they can manage the 3 year degree. Quite often, you're coming into, you're doing 60 credit, you're just getting your teeth sunk into something, and then all of a sudden you're heading off into a degree program. So that was really where that idea around with the degree, the foundation program was, not just to have tasters into the different sort of areas in the creative tech, but also to really build that sort of student life for them, so that when they went off to the degree programs, they had a solid foundation, and their chances of successfully completing the programs degrees, really significantly increased. So that's where the program is, where we relationship with Digital Natives Academy based in Rotorua, for the exact same reason we've got a relationship with Kid Studios, because we know that there are many rangatahi out there who are in the creative tech space, and that they are very creative, they want to be innovative, but they just don't have access to quality or this type of learning. So we started that relationship with the Digital Natives Academy beginning of the year, and it's been purely online. There have been a few bumps, always happens, but the bumps have just been a huge learning curve for us, for everyone involved. And I think that that just all that does is helps us to understand, help us to move forward, and to refine that. What else about the DCF program? There's a lot. The one thing I think for me, when I look at the DCF program, and if I look at the students that's coming out there, is actually seeing them at graduation, but not just at the DCF graduation. And I know that we've had lockdown, we haven't been able to have it, is actually seeing them 3 years after they've graduated, and they graduated from the degree program. Because I can see that, that we can see that journey, the student journey from where DCF, and they've gone off into the degree programs, they've graduated, and then 3 years later, they've got another they've graduated again. It's been really, really an interesting, challenging, exciting experience being part of this program, part of Media Design School, and the students, they're highly creative, very passionate, and obviously 8 o'clock at night Discord. Yes, I'm on Discord at 8 o'clock at night as well, telling the students, why are you still on Discord? Go get some sleep. It just never stops. And so I just shut down my computer, because otherwise they start asking me questions. The whole thing with the foundation, yes, of course we want our students to succeed and to get the qualifications. That's always top for us. But it's also those other things that matter. Them being able to have, building those connections and going into a degree program that they know that that's a degree that they want to be in. I think one thing that I'm always wary about is, and that's why I think that the foundation is really good, because you can come in there, you're very creative, but you haven't really figured out which way you want to go, and that's okay. And we often get students coming, and it's not till they actually get to the portfolio. It sometimes still happens. They haven't decided until they get to the end, and that's still okay. Because they're still young. They're still trying to figure things out, and by the time they get there, that's when things start to fall into place for them. So the DC program, or DCF, the DCF Avengers. We've always had DCF Avengers. We just never had a virtual version of it, or called the DCF Avengers. It's very much been that whole process of the seniors, they come in, they do the first semester, they go into the second semester, they become seniors. The new ones come in, they're juniors. So there's always this looking after one another, helping and supporting each other. Especially with the new students coming in. So when the new students go into the second semester, they get new ones come in. The expectation is they help, they carry on that whole thing. So you met Luke and Glenn today. We've also got Juno, who's joined. Juno, who's joined DCF. Juno's done the whole DCF NDS journey. He did the foundation. He went off to the degree at Media Design School. Went off and did masters. He's done some industry work, and he's come back. And we've got another lecturer who's just joined us as well. So Maria, she's doing motion graphics. She's just done the same thing. She did foundation, did a degree, went out in the industry, and she's come back and she's now teaching. So it's really, really cool to have those people in those spaces who've been taught and have done those programs. That's kind of, I think that pretty much covers. There's a lot of information.
Do we have any questions from our audience?
I was just wondering, you were talking about mentors and mentees, and what are some of the companies that you've got relationships with through Media Design School, or whether the mentors from specific areas, or
you've got the different departments, within the games and film, you've got BMD. There are a lot of different industry connections. We just recently, Glenn, who was it that we just recently had as a guest speaker for DCF?
We invited Ezekiel.
Great guy.
So what will happen is the different degree programs, all the different departments will pull out to their own resources and industry connections. We've had Fly Creative, Johnson McKay, Manu from
Other journeys, that's Amber Taylor.
So what we across the whole academic, all the different departments, we all try to bring through our industry. Like when the students coming into DC, when they come into the very end, they do their portfolio. We also get the program leaders from the different degrees to come in to critique their portfolios, and also to give them some overview of their program, so they get more one-on-one time. We've been increasing around guest speakers for the foundation program as well. But there's also more communication around more guest speakers across the whole MDS campus. So the students, even though if they're in foundation and there's a guest lecture that's happening over in games, they'll still get invited as part of that as well.
The alumni that we work, primarily one is with Māori Pacific. There's quite a few alumni that are out in the industry that the schools or different programs are connected to. And sometimes it's a matter of pulling everyone together, which is part of what I've learned and recognized in terms of different people that own their own companies that are Māori or Pacific. And they talk about their heritage and who they are because they want to embed that thought to our students that are Māori Pacific that, hey, you don't change. There's plenty of examples of young people, of our alumni who even question, do I have to wear corporate attire? Say, no, just be yourself. And so they're themselves, but they're very professional in the work that they do. They maintain who they are, which is important. And it's just making sure that those sort of, role models are more accessible for our people. And it's the same with our general students and so forth. And we'll take the same sort of model approach here with whoever they bring in here, that they would become almost like the talking, the big brother, the big sister, working together, and those relationships that are formed become hopefully lifetime connections and so forth. I think one of the advantages of when you're working within a smaller environment and having worked at the university, having worked at different PTEs and so forth, the one thing that makes, I guess, PTE, particularly this one here, is one, its integrity in terms of where it sits in the tech industry, and also because we're smaller. We're like a boutique store, we're very specialized. And because we're very specialized, we're actually reflective in the industry needs. So we're not just a tech school, we're highly sought after. And I say that with huge humility. I mean, it's just not enough. We have a student base of about 838 students, give or take. And we have a good number of Māori Pacific students sitting in the different programs that are offered. But at the same time, what does that mean? It means that there's so much, the industry is booming, but we just don't have the workforce to accommodate. And that's a huge task for some of the big companies I'm working with, like Google. We'll be working with Google, Microsoft I met with yesterday, Frontiera, ANZ, and some of these big companies that we wanted to talk about and work with. And one of the things I've said to them is that, while I would think of ANZ, I don't want to be a bank teller. I said, exactly, we have to change the perception by opening a company and see, or here's a creative student over here that's Māori Pacific, and here you guys, what is it that you do that these guys would like to come to you? And what is it that you guys, what do we do over here that will connect? And so that is what we would refer to as opportunity. And so in the discovery of those things, our mentoring, our mentors and stuff will open those doors, I believe, to be able to then have those discussions, those corridors that you could never have if stuck behind a computer just doing this all the time. And so one of the things I mentioned before, the intensity comes not just with what is expected of you, but you're working with your lecturers who are, as you've heard, in the industry, and then you're working with industry partners. So at the end of the day, there's a really good, there's a 360-degree preparation that comes with doing our degrees or doing a degree in the tech industry, because at the end of the day, you will be sought after, highly sought after, and so forth. So that this, as I was saying earlier on, the relationships that we're talking about are critical, and we just wanted to demonstrate that today by having our two guest speakers here. Before I close us off, because time has really come really quickly. Brother, how are you? He's probably just designing the next bomb. Thank you. Oh no, not bomb. Stopping the bomb. That's right. Yeah. What I wanted to say again was thank you to, first and foremost, our audience for coming. I appreciate our careers advisors that have stayed behind. I'm sure you've got other things that you have on your plate, but feel free to chat with our whānau here. And also to our guests, Alicia and John, thank you for joining us. I just realized that you're from Auckland University, and crossovers with your decisions and so forth, and also to our students and staff that joined us today. Thank you also to our tech man, Joshua. Thank you. Without you, we'd be talking to ourselves. Sorry that you said yes and we walked away from you. It wasn't you. It was just that we were busy with things. And again, to Bonnie and Bridie for their time. It's been wonderful being here today, here at Click Studios, here in Rosebank Road, Avondale. It's been really good, alongside with Media Design School. That's us today. May we catch up with you again. Kia ora koutou katoa to our whānau online. Thank you for staying. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. You can now go back to Netflix and watch whatever you want to watch, because we've spent some quality time with us today. On that note, we bid you farewell. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. There's a round of applause. Wow. Okay, now to do my real job.